Once upon a time, there was a father with two sons. The older one was clever, capable, and could handle just about anything. The younger one, however, wasn't sharp at all. In fact, people often said, "That kid's going to be a handful for his dad." The older brother ended up doing all the hard work, while the younger one mostly loafed around, clueless about life. One day, when their dad asked the older brother to fetch something late at night, he refused, saying, "No way, Dad. The dark gives me the creeps." He wasn't alone in feeling that way. When people sat around the fire swapping spooky stories, everyone would shudder and say, "Oh, that sent chills down my spine." But the younger brother just didn't get it. "Why do they keep saying that?" he wondered. "It doesn't make me shiver. Is this some kind of skill I don't have?" Eventually, the father had enough. "Listen here, my boy," he said. "You're growing up, and it's high time you learn something useful. Your brother works hard, but well, you don't even earn your keep." "Well, Dad," said the boy, "I'm ready to learn something. In fact, there's one thing I really want to learn: how to shiver." "I don't get it at all." The older brother laughed. "What a fool. He'll never amount to anything." Their dad sighed. "Fine, you want to learn how to shiver. Let's see if anyone can teach you." Not long after, the local sexton came by to visit. When the father explained the boy's peculiar desire, the sexton said, "Leave it to me. I'll make sure he learns what shivering is." Thinking this might finally set the boy straight, the father agreed. The sexton brought the boy to the church and gave him a job ringing the bells. After a few days, the sexton decided it was time to teach him a lesson. Late one night, he woke the boy and said, "Go up to the bell tower and ring the bells." Secretly, the sexton went ahead and dressed up as a ghost, waiting to scare him. When the boy climbed the tower and saw a white figure standing there silently, he yelled, "Who's there? Say something or get out of the way." The figure stayed silent. "I'm warning you," shouted the boy. When the ghost didn't budge, the boy ran straight at it and shoved it down the stairs. The sexton tumbled all the way to the bottom, breaking his leg. The boy rang the bells and went back to bed, unconcerned. Meanwhile, the sexton's wife found her husband groaning in pain. Furious, she ran to the boy's father. "Your son's a menace. He pushed my husband down the stairs and broke his leg." When the father confronted his son, the boy protested. "I didn't know who it was, Dad. He wouldn't answer me, and I thought he was up to no good." The father threw up his hands in frustration. "I can't deal with you anymore. Take this money and go out into the world. Don't tell anyone where you're from. I'm embarrassed to call you my son." "Fine by me," said the boy. "Maybe I'll finally figure out how to shiver." The boy set off, repeating to himself, "If only I could shiver." A passerby overheard and told him about a haunted castle nearby. "If you spend 3 nights there, you'll definitely learn what it means to be scared. And if you survive, the king will give you a reward: his daughter's hand in marriage and a fortune in gold." The boy went straight to the king. "I'll stay in the castle," he said. The king was intrigued and allowed him to take 3 items with him. The boy chose a fire, a knife with a cutting board, and a lathe. That night, he made a fire and settled in. Around midnight, 2 enormous black cats appeared and sat by the fire, staring at him with glowing eyes. "Want to play cards?" they asked. "Sure," said the boy, "but let me see your paws first." When he noticed their sharp claws, he grabbed them, pinned them to the cutting board, and trimmed their nails. "You're too dangerous to play with," he said, tossing them out the window. Soon, more cats and dogs with glowing red eyes arrived, carrying fiery chains. They tore apart his fire, but the boy fought back, hacking at them with his knife. By the time he finished, the creatures were either dead or had fled. Exhausted, the boy lay down to sleep. The bed suddenly sprang to life, racing through the castle and tossing him around. "Faster!" he shouted until it flipped over and pinned him. Undeterred, he crawled out, threw the mattress aside, and went back to his fire. The king was shocked to find him alive the next morning. "Well," he asked, "did you shiver?" "Nope," said the boy. Just had to deal with some rowdy animals and a restless bed. On the third night, the boy faced his biggest challenge. First, 6 men brought in a coffin. Inside lay a frozen corpse. "Let me warm you up," said the boy, dragging the body to the fire and rubbing its hands. When that didn't work, he tucked the corpse into bed with him. Slowly, the dead man came to life, and immediately tried to strangle him. "Not so fast, buddy," yelled the boy, shoving him back into the coffin and slamming the lid shut. Finally, an enormous, terrifying figure appeared. "Now you'll learn what fear is," it roared. "We'll see about that," said the boy. They wrestled, and the boy overpowered the creature, forcing it to beg for mercy. With that, the castle was freed from its curse. The king was so impressed that he gave the boy his daughter and the promised treasure. Still, the boy kept muttering, "If only I could shiver." One day his wife had enough. She poured a bucket of ice water and fished down his back while he slept. He jumped up, yelling, "I'm shivering. I'm shivering." Finally, he understood what fear felt like, and they lived happily ever after.